Hi, everybody, and happy holidays from All Things Boss Babe podcast. I have today with us an absolutely amazing woman that I have come to greatly respect and admire, Sharon Coleman, who is the CEO of Her Divine Life. And she has had so many amazing experiences and works very hard to make sure that she empowers women in the next generation that are coming up. And she has started this really amazing company that we're going to dive into a little bit and kind of share, how she got started in it and everything. She's had some really great experience in the executive world with working with Border Books and then CVS Pharmacy and many other things, right, Sharon? Like, you've done so much stuff. So I just really honored, Sharon, to have you with us today. Thank you for
My
coming back on
gosh.
our show.
I love being here with you, Ashley. You are fast becoming one of my favorite people, so I love being here with you.
That makes me so happy. You're one of my huge inspirations. And for any of you guys who want to learn more about Sharon, definitely go and check out her website at Her Divine Life. She's got some very fantastic resources there that she has pulled from her personal life and wants to impart that on to the next generation and to those people that are, it's kind of, I guess, stuck in that 9 to 5, working 9 to 5 situation and, want to rewire your brain. We were just talking about how you can basically rewire your brain. And I know you can get into that a little bit, Sharon, for us. But Sharon, what inspired you to create Her Divine Life, and where did all that come from?
It actually came from my own journey because when I was in my 20s, I was extremely lost. And
Mm.
I had had some trauma in my background and some physical trauma, as well as I had some parental trauma, right? From people that, although I know they loved me, they weren't really skilled on how to teach people how to live life or build self esteem or some of those things. And so I really struggled in my 20s. And I had this pivotal moment where I wanted to commit suicide. I actually had stopped drinking at the age of 26, and I had all these memories bubbling up inside of me and had all these crazy emotions that I had no idea what to do with. So I found myself in a very deep depression, and I actually wanted to commit suicide. So I had this wild moment where I got on my knees and I really cried out like, hey, if there's something else out there, God, then you've got to help me because I'm lost right now. And I had the coolest experience, Ashley, because I got completely surrounded by this feeling of unconditional love and peace in my living room on my knees. In fact, I was afraid to get off of my knees because I thought the feeling would end. And it was the most beautiful feeling I'd ever felt in my life. And so I knew somehow that something profound had happened. And so that night when I got up to go to bed, I kind of knew like everything is going to be okay. Well, within 2 days, I met my mentor, Anne, who became my mentor for over the next 28, almost 30 years. And she was phenomenal. She taught me neurology, psychology, spirituality. I went from where I was waitressing 3 jobs in complete poverty. And I mean, I was in poverty. All I ever thought about was how am I going to make my monthly bills? I was such a mess. And I drove a car that was so rusted out that my son would stand outside of the car and refuse to get in it because he was embarrassed. So I actually had that experience. And then with applying all these laws about how to rewire your mind and actually change yourself from the inside out, within 4 years, I went from being a waitress in 3 jobs to starting in a job by unloading trucks all the way up to a regional vice president. And so I've had an amazing career, an amazing abundance in my life in every single area. But it all started with hitting a really severe bottom in my 20s. And so now I just long to help other people not go through what I went through and get the shortcut, and make their lives like past their wildest imagination now while they still have a lot of life left.
That's fantastic, and I think that speaks to so many. I mean, I know it speaks to me, and I think it speaks to so many people because we are just in that, you know, constant wheel of work, work, work for the weekend or work just to pay the next bill. We're living paycheck to paycheck. And I think so many people want to have more than just that. Who wants to be stuck in this wheel of working where and survival. We might like to watch it on TV, but we don't like to live it for forever. So
Talk about
I
some
really
time,
can.
money, freedom, huh? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly. And so I know that that helped inspire her divine life, and I know I've benefited from getting to, talk to you about this. And I was in a class with you the other day, and we were talking about rewiring your brain. And I just thought that was a really great, question, I guess, that we can go into. Yeah, as you're going into the holidays, what is one way to stay positive? And I know a lot of people, it's just a time of stress and unease. And what is one way that you can stay positive when you go into the holidays?
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? Because it really comes back to, our mind is like the operational center. So everything actually occurs first in the mind. I had this very wise woman that said, everything is created twice. And what she meant was it was first created in your thoughts, then it's created in the outer world. And I had a near death experience about 12 years ago. And that was one of the things that I
Mm,
knew when I was there. I had this profound conversation with the divine. And what was said was that we're born with free will. So we actually have the right to choose to live the life that we want to live. And it's happening, we're manufacturing it through our thoughts. So our thoughts are things and are causing our outside world. But see, we're taught to look at it differently. We're taught
mm,
to look at it that what's outside is influencing us. Now, imagine the secret and the freedom when you start to understand that you're actually the one that's influencing, creating what's outside of you. So at
mhm,
Christmas and holidays, it's really important because we are around so many people. People are programmed by the time they're 10 years old. They have
wow.
the programming in their subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is like a iceberg under the water. 90% of your power of your mind and your working mind is your subconscious. Only 10% of your mind is your conscious mind that we're having this conversation with right now. So what happens is the 90% of someone's mind is where they store their deep beliefs, their memories, their way of perceptions and way of looking at life. So that's what's actually influencing your life, but you think it's your conscious mind. So when we're around people that were in our family, specifically, they tend to know every single button to push, right? And depending
Mhm.
upon your parenting and where you came from, or it could be your aunts and uncles, your grandma, everybody has an idea of how your life should be. And so they inquire, right? Like, oh, why aren't you married yet? Or, oh, is that what you're doing? Why don't you stop that entrepreneurial stuff and go get a real job? I mean, they don't mean to be harmful. If you can look at every single person in your family and outside of your family as though they too have a story, they have a background. They were programmed before they were 10 years old too. So what's
Mm,
coming out of their mouth is coming from an old, old, old experience in their life, but they think it's fresh. They think they're doing it again. And so when you look at them, if you can just back up a little and be more of the observer, then when you look at them, you won't take it so personally. When I
mm,
tell you that it's about them and it's not about you, I really mean it's about them and it's not about you. Because do you know most
absolutely.
people aren't even in the now enough to even see what's going on with you? You're kind of a secret when you walk around the world. A lot of people are asleep in the world. They're kind of like, my daughter loves those zombie movies. You know, those zombie movies where they just kind of
Yeah.
bump into each other and they just keep going?
Yeah.
So if you would look at the people that bother you the most and try to find love and tolerance, knowing that although they may not say it out loud, they're human beings. And that means they have experienced hardship and heartache. They have
Mm.
experienced really tough challenges where they didn't think they were going to get through. They have an entire history that really has nothing to do with us. But because
Mhm.
they haven't learned how to rewire their mind, they keep coming out with the same kinds of feelings and sentences. So it's really important to just take it easy and recognize in them, like, I think I'm not going to take my aunt so personally this year. I'm just going to look at her and recognize that it's coming from inside of her. So,
Mm.
you know how a lot of people with abuse, what happens is someone hits them, either emotionally, physically, spiritually, they hit them. Now, what people do is they automatically go inside and go, oh my gosh, what did I do to deserve this? What did I do to deserve this? And they look at them. Now, the key is that the entire time you never should have taken your eyes off the one that was doing the abusing,
Mm.
because it never was a problem with you. It was a problem with them. But you
Yeah.
see, they know if they hit you emotionally, spiritually, physically, you're going to go inside, especially if you're a nice person, and you're going to go, oh, what did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this? What did I? Nothing. You did nothing to deserve it.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's that person. It's what they're putting out in the world. It's coming
Mm.
from their story. So it really, when you learn to look at it that way and recognize that each person is in their own battle, each person is in their own story, and not take them so personally, I think it helps a lot. I think that
Yeah.
helps.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's very huge. And with the whole abuse, it's you don't necessarily have to be hit, but like you said, the emotional and the good people will be like kind of pull themselves in and figure out what they did. And if you just remember that it wasn't you and that they're projecting so much, like you're saying, that makes it so different and it adds so much more meaning to that. And that's just a huge key to remember, especially during the holidays when there's so many people that do come at you with, you should have done that, or why aren't you doing this with your life, or where are you at with this? And
Yeah.
um, a lot of it just comes down to almost like a projection thing of what they're struggling with or in their own life.
You guys,
So
you
that's
want
very true.
people's approval, Ashley. And I'm telling you, when you have the freedom and you finally give that up, and I'm begging you to give it up now. I'm
Mm.
begging you to give it up now. The only person that it matters in this life, if approves of you, is you. And the thing is, at this time of year, we tend to be really hard on ourselves, right? Like, especially with everything that's happened financially in the country. Everybody doesn't have the same amount of money that they had before to spend on Christmas gifts or to do those things. And I'm telling you that the gifts that really matter, they don't cost anything, you guys. You
Yeah.
want to give great gifts all day long when you're with your family, silently send them love all day
Yeah.
long. If you see somebody's not smiling and they look depressed, send them a happy. Say, gosh, I'm sending you happiness. I really hope that hits your heart. Happiness, not out loud, but you can silently send all kinds of gifts. If you want to
Mhm.
give a gift out loud, pay attention to them, look at them, and then give a real compliment. Do you know how many people just feel alone, like they're never noticed, like nobody ever sees them? For someone to
Oh,
just walk up and take time to talk to them for a moment. Ask the question, "How are you?" And don't
yeah.
walk away or go to the next subject. Let them answer the question. "I really am interested. How are you doing?" Do you know
Yeah.
it'll make someone's whole day if you do that? But
Yeah.
we try to be good. The problem is that people go outside of themselves and they try to be good. And we are good. So you don't have to be good because
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
are good. And the more you try to do good or be good outside of yourself, the more you go away from your authentic self. And your authentic
Mhm.
self is good, right?
Yeah.
So take it
Yeah.
easy on yourself at this time of year. Way too big expectations out there of how things
Mhm.
have to be on Christmas, of how things have to be with the family and the holiday. And you've got all kinds of different people's expectations, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
It's a
if you
melting
just
pot.
let whatever's going to happen for the day happen, and just enjoy whatever's happening. See it like a movie. That may not be a
Mhm.
great movie, but it doesn't have to be a bad movie, right? And just
Yep.
watch it from this beautiful, loving detachment where it doesn't mean so much to you. Like what presents they get, what doesn't get, how they react. Maybe you went out and you got a beautiful gift and your whole heart's involved in it, and they just kind of open it and throw it aside. And you're like, whoa, it's
Yeah.
not personal. I promise you it's not personal.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's so true. Um, I really appreciate you saying that, and I think that that speaks very soundly for so many people that are listening right now because it's just, it's a lot during the holidays, and as we go into the new year, you have the more expectations of your what are you planning for your new year? What do you have going on? What's going to be the new you, What are your resolutions, and are you a fan of resolutions or not, So what are some good keys for taking that from the holidays into the future? What is a good way to go into the new year? How should somebody look at that without being overwhelmed? Are New Year's resolutions even really a good thing to do?
It's interesting. A lot of New Year's resolution is we're actually resisting something. In other words, we don't decide to change ourselves from loving
Mm,
ourselves. We're trying to change ourselves from a position of we're not enough. We're
yeah,
not thin enough. We don't have enough money. We're not in a love relationship. We're not loved enough. We're not. So when I say it's not ever good to create from a space of lack. So
mm,
here's the thing. We were all created perfectly. Ashley, nobody needs an improvement plan. It's just a lie. There's nothing about you that needs an
wow,
improvement plan. Now, if you have an area of your life and you really would like it to be different, then instead of looking at what you don't have or the lack, the key to like dream building, which is what I do for a living, is help people build their dreams, is
yeah,
to see it already done, to see it
mm,
already done. So when you add struggle and hard work and strife and I'm trying really hard, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to work so hard, but you won't get anywhere. If you actually were to spend your time creating a vision for your life, whatever that is, and you guys let yourself dream. One of the
mm,
things I found when I went to the other side was that imagination, the divine told me, imagination was one of the biggest gifts we were given on this earth, and we stopped using it. Now that's crazy. A lot of people,
yeah,
when they're kids, like they're really in touch, they're like, they have this imaginary friend and they have all these beautiful imaginary worlds. But then they're
mhm.
told to, like, get serious and grow up. And I'm
That's
telling
so
you, go back
interesting that
to
you say that.
imagination. Huh?
Yeah. That's so
Go back
interesting that
to
you say that because I was talking to somebody the other day and we were talking about that very same thing. When you're younger, you have that mindset of you can go and play imaginary people or I don't know. We used to play house back in the day, where
yeah,
you go out and you make fake mud pies and all these extra things, and then you suddenly hit college or high school or even sooner, it's like, all right, get serious, go find a job, join the real world.
yeah,
And
what are you gonna do with your life,
how
right?
Yeah, exactly. And
So
how does
often you're going away from what you're here to do. You're going away from your passion by doing that. So
Yeah.
every single person on this earth was born with a dream on their heart, and that dream will not only make their life magnificent and create a life they love, but it will actually help this world. And we
Mm,
need help in this world. We need
yeah.
more love. So when you create a vision for your life, I always have people create a vision of their life from what would I love to have in my life? Not what would I like, not what do I think I deserve, not what do I think I can get, not what does my education say I can do, not what was I taught about money, that it's going to be limited and I have to work hard,
Right.
and where all that is not true. All that is not true. So imagine how hard people are working. Now, I'm not saying things don't take any effort. Do you know the hardest job you'll ever do in your life is to believe in your vision and to keep seeing it once you create the life you love, to keep
Mhm.
seeing it regardless of outside circumstances and conditions in your life. So if you want to have more money in your life, you absolutely cannot be looking at the lack of your bank account. So I'm asking
Mm.
for you to have the strength of mind, regardless of what the bank account says, to still feel wealthy, to still choose wealthy. I have unlimited resources. I have everything that I could ever need. Money just drops to my feet. Now, if you have that kind of thing, you're going to experience something different. But when people, what people focus on grows. Like I always say, if you take one thing away from me, what you focus on grows. So if you focus on the lack, you're going to get more lack because the thoughts
Yeah.
in your mind are like they have an energy frequency to them. And it's like ordering off of the menu of life, literally. So if you order something by thinking about it consistently, you bring it in your life. You see, your thoughts are actually like people say, well, I pray all the time, or and I think, yeah, you're praying all the time, not just on Sunday. Every single thought that goes through your head is a prayer. And here's the thing, they're all answered. So
Mm.
if you're in a bad mood and you're saying all these horrible things
Mm.
about yourself and like nobody loves me and I never get it right and it's never going to happen for me. Guess what? You just created it's never going to happen for me. You're never going to get it right. So that's what we were taught to do, but it's the exact opposite of how the laws work in this world. The exact opposite. It works. You focus on what it is that you want, not what you don't
Yeah.
want. Focus on what you want. And if you spent every day involved in that, even 5 minutes a day, you did 3 times a day, 5 minutes a day, you created a vision, you wrote a vision out on paper, right? Of what
Mhm.
kind of life you would love to have. If you 3 times a day got in that to where you feel like it's already done, it's
Yeah.
already accomplished, it will come to life. I've seen it over and over and over with my clients. I think you and I were just talking about this beautiful young woman. I won't use her real name, but
Right.
she came to me. She's actually a dog walker. And
Oh.
she has never made over $1,300 a month. Well, she's great at
Mm.
training aggressive dogs. She's great at walking dogs. But I worked with her a while because she had these money blocks of things she believed about herself and money. And remember, those are what she was focusing on. So she was always focusing on, I'm broke, I can't pay my bills, I never have any money left at the end of the month. I told
Mm.
her, man, if you want to get money, you got to stop doing all that. So I
Yeah.
gave her some really easy practices and we started to paint a vision of her having a great deal of money each month so she could open her own pet property. Like she could buy a piece of land and open this property where dogs could have playtime and they could get trained. And she loves pets and she's like a dog whisperer. She's so good at it, right? So this
Mhm.
is what happened. So I said, are you willing to make more money? Are you willing? Because you have to be willing. And she said, yes,
Yeah.
I am. So it's really funny because when I came back from the other side, I came back very clairvoyant. So I actually hear guidance from the divine for people. What I
Wow.
heard from her, this sounds so funny, was to go put an ad on Craigslist. She went and put a $5 ad on Craigslist. I helped her write it about doing, that she could help with aggressive dogs and dog walking. Do you know that 2 weeks ago she made $8,000 in 1 week?
Wow.
$8,000. She was beside herself. But you
Yeah.
see, she did the work. She actually rewired those limiting beliefs and paradigms in her mind. She
Yeah.
was willing to spend time believing more in the vision. So she spent more time believing what she saw in her imagination than what she saw in her bank account.
Wow.
You
That's so
see,
interesting.
we think the outside conditions and circumstances are king, but what is inside of you is far greater than any circumstance or condition in your life. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can't create. That's why you hear these stories of people that are homeless living in a car and they go from that to being a multimillionaire. How did they
Mhm.
do that?
Yeah.
It wasn't education. They understood how to use their mind and change their mind.
Mhm.
So Yeah, I mean, for the new year, please don't do New Year's resolutions, but do take the time to stop and craft a beautiful vision for your life that you would love to have in 4 areas, right? We do it in our vocari, our work area, our vocation. What in this lifetime we want to exchange our gifts for money. Okay, that's your
Mm,
vocation. And then you do it in health and wellness. So, what do I need to do to have vibrant health and feel great in my body? Health comes from the mind. Everybody thinks health comes from the body. Health comes from having a mentally healthy mind, is where that
mm,
comes from. Okay. So, vibrant health. And then what do you want for love in your life? Do you want to find your true love? Do you have your true love? You want a better relationship? Do you want a better relationship with your family, your children, whatever it is, right? Craft that beautiful vision. And we
yeah.
always start with, I am so happy and grateful now that. Because when you look at that vision 3 times a day, you're looking at it as though it's already done. You're not putting it out here like, "Oh, I really wish that could happen. Oh, I really hope that could happen." Nothing will happen if you do that. It'll forever stay, it'll move away from you at all times. It's all happening right now, guys, right now. So see it done, complete, and then your brain has this amazing RAS reticular system that will go out and bring experiences, ideas, people into your life to make that come true.
Interesting. That's so amazing. And it makes me kind of wonder too, like how, how there's those people that seem to always like their luck is just always goes downhill. And it's probably because you basically just foster that. You get into this mental cyclone where you just go down farther and farther. And it's almost like you create this negative vacuum around you that almost pulls you in. And that has like that is why when they say sending those positive vibes, it's sending those electric wavelengths in your mind because your brain does work off of electric currents.
Yeah.
It's rewiring all that and making that such a huge
Ashley,
important
it's so
point.
sad. It's so
Yeah,
sad to me. I mean, that is why I do what I do, because I was that person.
yeah,
I was that person. I kept on creating poverty and depression and not being
mm,
loved in relationships. And I kept creating the same stuff, man, until
yeah,
finally I found a teacher and she taught me what to apply to my life to change it. But that's exactly what's happening. So now they're in a depression and they're always looking at what's not good. They're always looking at what's bad. They see the cup as half empty. So the cup keeps being half empty. So they're caught in this horrible perpetual cycle. Now, here's what's so amazing, that same person that's caught in that cycle, if they apply these tools to their life, Ashley, they can change within a week. Their life can start changing within
wow,
a week. A week. It is so easy. We're answered that quickly, by the way. That's what's kind of scary. So I
yeah, it is
know the
really,
road gets narrower. Like I've been doing this a long time. So I don't get to go out there and try to mess around with like anything that's not positive. It comes back on me so fast, I can't tell you. So I tell people, they're like, "Oh, you're so positive, you're so happy all the time and generous and blah blah blah." They're like, "You're such a good person." I go, "No, it's not that I'm so good. It's that I want to live my life in joy."
yeah,
It's not like,
yeah,
"Oh, I'm so good." No, I practice this over and over so I can have a life that I love living. And
yeah,
that's what I want
absolutely.
everybody else to have, a life that they literally wake up in the morning, jump out of bed, and love living. And it's possible no matter what is going on outside in the world
Hmm.
because
Wow.
I do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know this is a little testament, but the last time we talked and had said about this, the same thing that we're talking about now about reprogramming your mind and thinking towards the future and what you want to have happen instead of what, everything in your face right now is happening. And things started changing like automatically. Like I felt like I was one of those people that always had that luck, if it was gonna happen, it was gonna. And after we talked and I started rethinking things, it was like the universe listened. And literally, like, that's why I just like, I can't believe it was, I think, one conversation I had with you, and I started rethinking things, and stuff started becoming more positive, and stuff didn't like it was really, really crazy how that worked. And it's not magic. It's,
It's
that
not
whole
magic.
clearing of your mind. So I
It's
really,
not magic. That you don't know how happy that makes me to hear that. I love,
yeah.
love, love listening to client stories where they turn everything around. And Ashley, here's what's so interesting about that. Is like you didn't know. If you had known, you would have done it before, right? I
Yeah,
didn't know,
exactly.
so I wasn't doing it. So you see
Mhm.
why I think this work is so valuable to help people learn how to do it and then reinforce it, help them, hold them accountable to like, okay, well, let's talk about what's going on this week. Well, let's talk about what you were thinking this week. By the way, you said something really interesting. It's actually scientific. It is
Mm.
scientific. Quantum physicists
Wow.
have proven that your thoughts have energy. They've proven it now. So this isn't any more like la 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 stuff. This is a
Mhm.
fact. So
Yeah.
scientifically, if you look at the neurology in your brain, and I've looked at thousands of brain scans, if you look at the neurology in the brain, do you know your brain actually lights up where you're thinking with an energetic connection
Yeah.
in your brain? So if you are thinking very low thoughts, they have a very dense, heavy property about them. That's why people that are depressed tend to close in on themselves, okay? That's what happens. So when you said that, that's exactly it. This is a scientific process and it works. So I love that you said that because I get so happy when people try it and they see the results.
No, it really did, and I just it was so nice, because it's you go through all these, there's so many self-help and positive this, and how can you grow your business, and how can you do this and have successful relationships. And so much of it just comes down to a very simple rethinking things. And I remember talking with my best friend, and we'd be like, okay, this is our year, this is and we didn't change our mindset to that. We just went into it still thinking we weren't going to make it, or it wasn't going to be our year, even though we had said it. So it has to be that mental change. And
It
I
has
love
to
what
be.
you were explaining with the
Subconscious
other
mind is
day.
the most that's the biggest part. I didn't mean to interrupt, Ashley, but your
Oh, you're fine.
subconscious mind, people don't understand 90% of their brain power and what's defeating them in life is in their subconscious. So
Yeah.
unless you go in your subconscious and you understand what's in there, it's like taking an inventory and you understand what's in there, then you can start to change your life. But you can't pretend that it's not going on because you see evidence of it in the outside world. Once you know what it is, then you can flip the switch. Then you can start practicing something different. And through repetition, you're literally turning on the chemicals in your mind that are the happy chemicals. You're like
Mm,
a chemist inside your own body every day, deciding, am I going to feel good? Am I going to feel down? Am I going to feel? You're the deciding factor. And that's what was so interesting to me when I went to what I call heaven or the other side, right? Is I knew I was responsible and I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute. I thought it was other people outside of me or circumstances outside of me. To some level, I still believe that, right? Man, after I got back, after I had my code blue and I came back into the hospital in my ICU bed, I was like, never again have I believed that anything outside of me creates my world. I know it doesn't. But you
yeah.
do have your creator is there to fully support you every minute of every day with what you do want. That part is true.
Mhm. Wow, that's amazing. And I know you had mentioned too how the scientists have figured out our brain levels, or like the electrical pulse levels. And you had showed a graph the other day, and I just thought that was really interesting how the different negative thoughts are more of a, I can't remember what frequency. Are they lower frequency or higher?
Low
Lower,
frequency.
because they
Your
bring you
dreams are
down.
created. This was part of the problem when people read The Secret that they didn't understand. The book didn't give all of it. And so people didn't understand. They tried it and it didn't work. Okay. But the thing is, when the only way that dreams can come into your life, meaning that future that you long for, okay, that future can only come in your life if you're in a very high frequency.
Mm,
So the highest frequencies are love, their joy. Though peace, being peaceful, being at peace. That's what's so funny. When people go try to work so hard, they're actually going in opposite. That's on the lower scale. So shame, which I actually grew up in a family where there was shame. So shame is a 20. There was a doctor that did this test, by the way, over 30 years to get the emotional equivalent and frequency for every emotion you can imagine. And the bottom of the scale is shame. And then apathy, meaning I don't care either way. I could care less. I just have given up. That is a really low, dense emotion. That's where you see a lot of people in depression. But a lot of depression is people pushing down, depressing down who they really are and believing the limiting thoughts that are going through their brain. So they feel depressed because they're pushing down that person, that beautiful, perfect person that they really are, their authentic self. And they're living off these thoughts that are negative about them that they believe are true. Isn't that sad? They believe those thoughts more than who they really are. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's amazing. It's almost it's being sometimes you have to reprogram your minds all the way from birth, if you're being told that. And I know I grew up in a very judgmental household too, where you almost live it out because of that, not pressure, but you're being told. And my mom used to tell us this too: feelings follow thoughts, like baby ducks follow their mothers, like that. A lot of times if you're told and you begin to develop those feelings, it develops those thoughts, and it kind of takes you down into that. So it's very interesting how that is all very well connected.
They do. So what you focus on, okay, what you focus on grows into thoughts. Your thoughts equal into feelings that you're feeling. They go with the thoughts and they're like that. They're so automatic. It's like if you look at neuron connects in your brain, it almost like a rut where these trains of thoughts follow each other. And you've done them so often, they've become almost like a rut. So the whole point is you
Mhm.
flip it, you do something completely different. Those synaptic connections in your brain actually prune off. They disappear. Those old ways of being disappear. That's why when I talk about who I used to be, I feel sometimes like I'm lying, but I'm not lying. That is who I was. That is the woman I was. But now I'm so different. I couldn't access those if I wanted to. They're gone. All that
Mhm.
self loathing, all that, I hate my body. I hate, all that stuff.
Wow.
It's gone. That's how powerful reprogramming your mind is. It's
Yeah,
incredible. Yeah, so I
that's
love that you
amazing.
said that because it's so true, Ashley. It's so true, and you gotta understand, I grew up in a very judgmental household too, very critical,
Mhm.
and so what happened was all of a sudden, I'm grown, right? The parents are gone, I'm grown, and I
Yeah.
am doing the same thing to myself that was done to me. I'm judging myself, I'm criticizing myself. If it wasn't perfect, it wasn't good enough. I mean, I'm doing the same thing now, and now I'm doing it to myself because it's living inside of my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and they say that you're the sum of the 5 people that you're around or something like that, and it's fairly true because you all can, probably the brain waves, like, you're around all that negativity, it'll bring you down because it just starts to get you into those thought patterns and everything, and so that can really cause a mental struggle as well. And so in order to continue to rewire your brain, you also have to watch around the people that you're around as well, is what I would imagine.
Until you can learn to not take them personally. Okay, so I could be around that negativity. Now, I wouldn't stay around it. I wouldn't
Right.
stay around it because my life is too good. And I actually am really blessed at this point in my life. Now, I've been doing this work for a long time and I have really positive people around me. Negative people don't seem to want to be around me too much. I think they get mad when I laugh and have a good time. So they don't really want to
Yeah.
be around me too much, which is the good news, right? But you will get to a point where you can be around that negativity and it will not affect you because you will have made a decision of how you're going to live your life. And so
Mhm.
you're just not willing to trade off. It's like, I'm not willing to buy into that thought because I don't want to feel down. I don't want to feel like the world is a horrible place. I don't want to do any of that. So you can just keep it. I'm going to do my own thinking, right? I'm going to take care of my own mind and prune my own garden, so they would say.
Mhm.
So it's important to notice what you're noticing with your thoughts. Now, you think a lot of thoughts, but the pervading ones, the ones that have a lot of emotion, are the ones that are running your life.
Wow, that's amazing. And Thank you so much for sharing all this, Sharon. It's been so wonderful to have you back in the studio, and I know the audience will get a huge kick out of that if they haven't seen it. Of course, I'm going to play the reruns and everything, but oh my goodness, thank you so much. I think that is a huge blessing that we all have needed to hear. So thank you.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. Just apply it. Hey, and let people know, I've got a free Facebook group. So people that
Oh, yeah.
want to work with me can certainly go to Her Divine Life on the website and get in touch with me. But if there's a Facebook group called Her Divine Life, and I put all kinds of things in there for free. I put live videos and I put all kinds of positive things. Just if you just need like a good punch in the arm of positivity every day, you can go there too. But Ashley, thank you so much. And thank you more than anything for applying it to your life and seeing it start to change, because that's why
Yes.
I do what I do. So I love that.
Me too. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And I know I'll love to have you on the show down the road too, because it's just such a huge blessing to everybody that listens. So
I'm
thank you
so
so
glad.
much.
Everybody keep dreaming. Don't let this world ever talk you out of your dreams. Keep
Yes.
dreaming. Dreams come true every single day.
Hmm.
Every single day, and 100% it can happen for you, 100%. So and have a very Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, absolutely. Have a great Christmas and holidays, everybody.
Holidays, whatever your holidays are, have a happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa. Yeah,
Yes. Yep. Everything and New Year's. And we will see you back here in the studio next time. Thank you again, Sharon.
of course. Take care. Bye, everyone.